Another big mouthful. That's probably 50 babies in there, 50 eggs. Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. We're out here doing some checking. I'm checking these Marmalade trewavasae. I don't normally check them, but I'm gonna, do it today just to kind of check them out and see what's going on with them. This is a really nice fish. We got these fish originally back in the 70s. We were one of the original, my brother and I, Tally Imports, one of the original people bringing in fish. There was our group. There was a guy named Seymour Greenspan. There was a guy named Freiberg, which the Freiberg guy is named after. And then we were doing it. So we were, most of them were getting from one source, which was Peter Davies. But we went over there, we found the guy who had the whole lake. So we were getting new fish all the time because he had the whole lake. You had to have a permit for the whole lake or in different areas. And I don't have any idea if these guys are ready to pop or what. I'm just here to look at them. This is a Marmalade trewavasae, male. Females are all OB'd. If they're not breeding, I don't really care. It might mean that Tony checked them a week ago. But I'm gonna look at them anyway. I always like to make sure that they're what they are supposed to be. I'm looking for a long-bodied fish, not a Fuliborni body, which would be heavy body. There's a Marmalade Fuliborni also. We were naming fish back then kind of never a scientific way. We were just two guys and a new exporter, and we were deciding on this fish. And I remember we were sitting around breakfast at Fleet's house, and they were serving, I know it's gonna sound stupid, marmalade jelly. And I said, well, it's kind of like marmalade jelly. Or he said, or somebody said. And that's what we called them. Now they're called Labeotropheus trewavasae. And then OB, well, those are I'm gonna have to put in the incubator. OB Marmalade. And that's their official name. Now this is not, some people, this is a true fish. This comes from the lake, not a hybrid. There's a lot of talk in industry about, well, is this a hybrid? In a minute, I'm going to go check the albino trewavasae. Now, again, people say, oh, albino, it's a hybrid. No, it's not. The albino exists in everything. There's albino deer, there's albino everything. And as you can imagine, in the wild, an albino fish is not going to last very long. I mean, you think about it, you're the only albino hanging out in a group of fish. I think you're kind of saying to a predator, hey, look at me, look at me. So they don't exist. But in this environment, we are able to get them. So we've gotten albino peacocks, albino trewavasaes. We came up with albino, a sister-in-law who used to work here, albino Kyogo flameback, Kyogo, and in fact she won an award with that. So anyway, they didn't do very well, but I'm not discouraged because I put money on it. Tony checked these 2 or 3 weeks ago. But let's go around the corner here and I'll show you the albino trewavasae. And like I said, it's a real fish. I do have a hybrid on the farm. I think I know of one hybrid I have on the farm, and that would be OB peacock. And some people won't touch it. Some of my customers, absolutely, no way, no way. But it is a hybrid. Everybody knows it. Somebody crossed, something off with an OB something or another, brought it through, and they came up with OB peacocks. It's outstanding looking fish. But when it breeds, it kicks out the OB, but it also kicks out something we call a red stripe, and it's a red stripe blue, and that is because it must have come from that. Now this is red-top trewavasae albino. So this, we had where this came from was blue trewavasae with a red dorsal and a gold female. So this came from that. So that's where it's a really, we have an OB albino trewavasae. They're holding eggs, so we probably were checked recently. But we have an OB trewavasae that's just like we just looked at a minute ago. Those marmalades is that morph in trewavasae. So there we have those. So Tony probably checked these because all of them are what it is holding is eggs. So they'll be checked again. These are his fish. Everybody on the farm has a group of fish they check. And Tony's like a machine checking these guys. He's, you know, if he's 2 days late, he's freaking out and running around here. But anyway, he seldom is late unless we're overloading him with work, which we tend to do. Salvador does lots of the peacocks, etc. I do a few fish that I really enjoy doing. So everybody has a responsibility. And I don't really, I got to tell you, there was times in my life when I knew where every fish was on the entire farm. Another big mouthful of eggs. But now, I don't. And I don't really worry about it because the guys do such a great job that I don't need to worry about it. I got other things to do. But anyway, it's a beautiful fish. Little small ones are, the babies, fried, we sell, are all this color. And very nice, red eye. There's other fish out there that people call, this is an albino. And if it doesn't have the red eye, I think that's part of the definition of an albino. It's got to have a red eye. If it doesn't, it's not albino. See, here's another big, well, these I could almost take, but I'm not going to. So this is going to be, next time Tony checks, there's going to be a couple hundred babies here, ready to go. And he'll pop them. I bet he'll be popping these next Friday or Saturday. I'll have to ask him. I'll tell him I did this. Another big mouthful. That's probably 50 babies in there, 50 eggs. But these guys will slow down as the weather gets cooler. And then some of them will stop. The haps stop really early. The males lose their color and they just flat out stop. But these guys will keep going. I'm going to show you what we were just at the albino trewavasaes. So I'll show you what they look like. These probably have been in this tank. They were inside for probably 2 weeks. Then they're outside. They've probably been out here for about a month. You know, on albinos, we always give them a little shaded area. And we do that by just taking a couple of these screens. And we usually put it down by the pipe because they hang out there. And this, you know, if they want to shade themselves, it's cool. Some people say that it's not, you know, necessary, but these are what they look like. Now, this, I would call this medium, and I'd call these regulars. And what you got here, the difference in size is, and I've been coming in here and getting fish out. This was probably checked, you know, 10 to 12 days ahead of this. So and this was probably even later. These guys don't bother each other, so we just pile them up in the warehouse and move them out here when we've got, it was probably 250 of these when we started, and it was probably 125, but I'm running out of the mediums, and so while I'm catching the medium ones, the regulars are growing up and might become mediums before I end up getting into this tank. Thanks again, see you later.